All right, folks, welcome back in to the latest edition of the Last Word on Sports Media podcast. I am the somewhat competent, somewhat rested, definitely fully nutritionalized by everything with Thanksgiving, TJ Reeves. He is Mike Gill of the Mike Gill Show. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving weekend. We're back talking sports media now in the month of December, Michael. Looking forward to all of it, whether it's football, this controversy that's gotten some national attention about the Mountain West Conference Volleyball Championship and potentially the NCAA Volleyball Championship coming up and how it's covered. That's going to come up. But in any event, lots of football, college football playoff looming off their championship week. How you doing, Mike? Good to be back with you.
All right, I lost you there for a second. You're back. You were frozen. Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, I don't know if the stream is working properly or correctly, but I see you.
I got you.
And the audience sees me.
You were going, and then you froze, and now you're back.
And now I'm back. So that whole buildup about the football, the college football playoff looming in December, I won't redo that. We'll call that just the early reset button here on the program. So it's good to be with you. Thanksgiving weekend was good, and we're ready to roll and talk some sports media.
Yeah, I was really busy. I called a game on Thanksgiving morning, then the football all day, and then the college football, the Black Friday football, and football. Very little NBA Cup. Not interested in that, really. Not grabbing me there. NBA numbers have been down. Actually watched some college basketball this time of the year. I watched the you guys on the college basketball show. My man Jeff Nadeau, he's a guest on my show. Man, that guy has more college basketball knowledge than anyone I've ever heard in my life. Can he tell you the coach at Central Valley, Missouri State, and how many different transfers they have?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we have fun talking college basketball and that. So yeah,
I've been watching a lot of those games. I'm a big ESPN Plus college basketball watcher.
Yeah, and there's tons with that as the football season winds down. There's tons, obviously, with that. Lots to go over here on the program. So let's go back to Thanksgiving and the triple header, where it's the triple header that, first of all, saw Matt Eberflus get himself fired with the bad clock management at the end of the Lions game. The Cowboys-Giants, not a good game. The Cowboys did win, massive TV audience. And then the Dolphins were freezing cold on Thursday night against the Green Bay Packers for the Sunday Night Football crew on Thursday night. But in this case, it was Jason Garrett in for Chris Collinsworth for the Thursday night game, won by Green Bay over Miami. So the numbers are in, and we knew the Cowboy number would be big, and it is big. It's the most watched broadcast of the year so far, right?
It is, but it's also the least watched Cowboy Thanksgiving Day game in about 4 years, according to John Lewis. 38.5 million on the day. It just, according to Jimmy Traina, who tweeted this out just a couple minutes ago, it just edged out the Lions game. So a lot of people were wondering, would the Lions game get more viewers? Now it's in the earlier window. Jimmy tweets out, CBS drew 37.4. It's the most watched Lions game on Thanksgiving ever, but it got beat by that Cowboys-Giants game by about 1 million viewers there. So 37 for the Lions, 38 for the Cowboys. It's the most watched NFL telecast this regular season on any network, but 41 million it peaked at between 6 and 6:15. I think I was taking a nap.
I think most of America was taking a nap. It wasn't a very good game for that, even though it is the Cowboys. And I know you got some thoughts on Tom Brady here in a second. But again, these are massive numbers. These are, again, we should keep mentioning, as John Lewis always said when we were doing the Sports Media Watch pod together, the previous incarnation before this one, that you have to understand and appreciate most of network TV now, Mike, for whatever this is worth. You're lucky to have 3 or 4 million people watch, 3 or 4 million. When you're getting 25, 30, 35 million people to watch an NFL game, it's 10 times the audience. So just a massive day for these networks on Thanksgiving with the captive audience. What did the Thursday night game with the Sunday night crew, what did that end up doing? I got to believe it was easily 20 million, if not 25 million, more than anything else.
The Sunday night game on NBC and Peacock, 49ers-Bills. This is the snow game. I have not seen anything for the late Thanksgiving game, but that game did $22.5 million for the Sunday Night Football game in the snow. The snow generally will bring in some casuals that like to see the snow, and I think you got a little bit of the casuals there for $22.5 million for Peacock and NBC.
And so I'd have to believe, I haven't seen it officially, and I'm still looking here on what the Thursday night game did, but it had to probably be 20 million or more. What's a few million among friends, even though it's a one-sided game for a lot of it at halftime. So again, these NFL standalones, they are something different. Now, say something about Tom Brady, because again, it's been a mixed bag of criticism. I will just go ahead and say I liked the personality. He was eating the turducken wing with Kevin Burkhardt. They kept playing tribute all day to John Madden on all the broadcasts.
He's getting criticized for not taking a big enough bite of the turducken, like that. He kind of just didn't really rip into it. But I definitely think that he sounds more comfortable as we are 13 weeks in. But, he's given more insight. Now, some people are criticizing him for his shot that he took at Daniel Jones. He took the shot at Daniel Jones. He basically said Jones deserted his guys, that he should have stuck it out to the end. And some people are saying, look, Brady, you don't know what was going on there. They put him on the scout team. But that's what we want to hear. We want Brady's opinion on what he thinks is in that moment. You want to hear from the best of all time on whether or not, he would he have done what Daniel Jones is doing. So I think you're seeing a more comfortable Tom Brady.
And he told a great story, too, because they played the Randy Moss highlights from his rookie year on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys. And then he told the story about when Moss came to the Patriots. And in the very first game, I still remember that 2007 unbeaten season, the very first game of that season, they beat the Jets. It was known for many things, because not only was it Moss's first game, not only did it start the Patriots' roll of winning all 16 regular season games, but that's the Spygate game where they busted the Patriot employee standing on the Patriot sideline, videotaping the hand signals across the way with a towel over the old video camera, the old school video camera. They busted that employee. It started the whole Spygate investigation that the Patriots had been doing it for years. But Brady told the story that, hey, he threw a ball as far as he could practically throw it, and Randy Moss was about 10 yards behind everybody running under it. And as Brady related, he came over to the sideline to Josh McDaniels and said, this is going to be a lot of fun, this entire season of just throw it up and let him go get it. So good stuff. All right, so you do have the number, and it was what, 26 million, the massive number for Dolphins, Packers on Thanksgiving night. Again, these networks struggled to get 3 or 4 million people to watch. So when you're getting that kind of number on a weeknight, on a holiday weeknight, tremendous audience for football. That's what we're getting at.
That seems to be the formula, TJ. Put a football game on, get a record number of viewers. Put it on a holiday, get a bigger number. I don't know what the Netflix number was. I haven't heard anything on the Netflix for Black Friday, but I'm imagining you're going to hear some wild number there as well. And it's basically the formula. That's why the streamers are getting involved. They're saying, we'll take a Black Friday game. We'll do a Christmas game. I'm sure you're going to see a Christmas Eve game, I would imagine, down. At what point are you going to get a Tuesday game, a Wednesday game, no matter what game?
Right. No doubt. And again, that was Friday afternoon, not in prime time, and it's not the same holiday. It is Black Friday, but there were some people working, some people shopping. So we'll see. And it was a close game where, once again, the Chiefs pull out another game with an interesting, bizarre, close ending where they called the fumble on the Raiders. So we'll see what the numbers are.
I will say, I was out and about on Friday, so I didn't. Now, I dropped my girlfriend off to get her nails done, and I said, okay, I'll go grab a beer and watch the game. The place I went did not have Amazon Prime. They could not get the game. So if you were out trying to watch it at an establishment for, an hour or two while the wife is out doing some shopping, I don't know what that was like and how that would affect the numbers.
And here's the other thing. I'm not sure on this point. If you have the Sunday ticket, if you've bought that through YouTube TV, and it used to be DirecTV, you would get every game. But I don't know how that works with these specific standalone streaming games like this one on Amazon, or like the Netflix games coming up on Christmas Day. So if I bought that package as a fan or as a bar, as a sports bar, a restaurant, do I get that as part of my Sunday ticket? I don't know that answer for a lot of them. I don't know what the truth is on whether they got that game on Friday if they were already, because you go to a lot of these places in Florida, for example, and they have the Sunday ticket in every game on. They've paid for it. They paid in bulk, a discounted rate for the whole season to have it. My point is, I just don't know if that was available on Friday at establishments or not.
Yeah,
or if you had to buy it through Amazon.
I would say, too, I'm not a big go out to watch the game guy, so I don't know what bars and what the whole situation is with the Sunday ticket, the YouTube TV, all that jazz. So I know where I went on Friday. I got there, and they had the Egg Bowl on, and I'm thinking, who wants to watch the Egg Bowl? And I'm in the Northeast, so not a big draw in the Northeast for the Egg Bowl.
Mississippi State did not ring the bell for you. I agree. Okay.
No, maybe down in your parts, more interest on the Egg Bowl, but up in the Northeast, no, not a lot of interest there. But they did not I asked the bartender, I said, hey, do you have the NFL game on Amazon Prime? They said, no, we are not able to get that game.
Interesting. Okay, a couple of other things, too. We're still awaiting, as you and I do this live, and we'll obviously do it on a follow-up if it happens to come out after we're done here on the Last Word on Sports Media podcast. The Ohio State-Michigan game, let's advance to that at noon on Saturday, and what a choke job by Ryan Day in Ohio State as a 3-touchdown favorite playing at home. All this pent-up revenge, Mike Gill. And they never really did anything in the second half of the game. Scoreless second half at home. You credit Michigan for the defense and the win, the 4th straight victory now in the series. We were wondering, would that be the highest rated game of the college football season? It would better the Georgia-Texas primetime game at 13 million on average if it did. We don't have that number yet. Fox has not released that number as of midday Tuesday. It makes me wonder if they believe it is close enough to being the most watched college game of the year. Mike, they certainly got a close game, not a well-played offensive game, but they got a close game, and the drama of Ohio State losing there at the end, and it cost them the Big Ten title game. Penn State gets in the Big Ten title game with the Ohio State loss. Yeah. They'll play Oregon. Go ahead.
I would imagine that number is going to be huge because of the fact that it's a close game, and it murmurs, oh, my gosh, Ohio State's going to choke this away. Probably brought viewers in. So I would think late in that game, the 3 o'clock, 2:30, 2:45, 3 o'clock, that number had to be growing and growing and growing as that game continued to stay close because you're waiting for Ohio State to pull away, and it never really happened.
Yeah, and again, in terms of the rivalries, you had Alabama and Auburn later in the day, the Iron Bowl that was on ESPN. CBS might have gotten a good number because it was a good game. USC, Notre Dame, national rivalry, gives you the LA market, gives you the Chicago market. So I'm curious what that game got as well. 3:30 Eastern time slot, 12:30 in the West for Notre Dame and USC. And then the primetime game of Texas A&M was on ABC. And what did Fox had, I believe, the Iowa State game, Iowa State and Rocco Beck, the son of Anthony Beck, the former West Virginia great, trying to make the Big 12 title game. I don't know that any of those ratings would have come close to the Ohio State-Michigan number or also the Notre Dame USC number earlier in the day, but we still await those ratings and numbers to come out. It is the Last Word on Sports Media podcast. TJ Reeves, Mike Gill with you. By the way, our sponsor, Ticket Smarter, the Ticket Smarter mobile app. Make sure you jump aboard with Ticket Smarter if you're looking for tickets, Mike. And for the audience, for any of these college championship games, the SEC title game, Georgia and Texas in Atlanta. Big Ten title game has Oregon in it. First year in the Big Ten, playing Penn State coming up on Saturday night. That game, Iowa State, Arizona State at Jerry's World at AT&T Stadium earlier in the day. Pick any of these games, Clemson and SMU. SMU, first year in the ACC. They're in the title game in Charlotte. Use Ticket Smarter. Ticket Smarter mobile app. Best prices on the secondary market. Your purchase is safe and secure. And we've got a promo code LWOS20. Take $20 off any order, $300 or more for any of these college games. College football playoff, Mike, coming up. NFL games as they come down to the end of the regular season.
That's the story, TJ.
Yeah,
that's the story in every conference. Every conference championship game has a new team in the conference tournament championship game. You've got Texas leaving the Big 12. They're in the SEC championship. Oregon leaves the pack. They're in the Big Ten championship. SMU, they are now in the ACC. I mean, every conference has a new participant other than, actually, no, Arizona State. They're in the Big 12.
Right.
So every conference has a new team representing them in the conference championship. By the way, the American has Army in it. The Army was an independent. They went to the American.
And so, again, if you want tickets to any of these college championship games this weekend, the NFL games and more, concerts, the NBA, TicketSmarter mobile app, promo code LWOS20 takes $20 off any order $300 or more. Get in the game. Think smarter with TicketSmarter. You see that also if you're with us on the video show down on the bottom of the screen. If you're with us on the pod, come see what we look like through social media. Mike's handle, the Mike Gill Show, on social media, Mike Gill Show. On Blue Sky, on Twitter X. I'm at Bucks Sideline Guy for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Full disclosure, I got my Buccaneer hat on today with the Bucks trying to make a playoff push late in the year. So, again, social media, Mike Gill Show YouTube page. See the video show of the Last Word on Sports Media podcast. Another topic, Randy Moss made kind of a vague health announcement on Friday morning on the Sunday Countdown ESPN pregame show for the NFL, where he said at the outset he was undergoing health issues, according to him, health issues. He thanked his wife and his family for supporting him. He said it's affecting his eyesight. He didn't say specifically what it was, Mike, but then he said, I've got to wear sunglasses for the rest of the show with these bright lights. And then Mike Greenberg and Teddy Bruschi and Rex Ryan and the others, they all put on glasses with him in support for Randy Moss, at least for that segment. So we'll wait to see what else comes of this with Randy Moss making that revelation on the Countdown show on Sunday.
Here's the this is the announcement from Countdown.
We're all well. Randy, we're doing well.
Well, good morning, man. I just want to share something with y'all, man. Just I put a post up maybe a few minutes ago on Instagram just telling people, you were talking about my eyes last week, and I just want to let the viewers know that me and my wife, me and my family, we are battling something internally. I have some great doctors around me. I couldn't miss the show. I wanted to be here with you guys. I feel great, but if y'all see me with these Michigan turnover glasses that I have on, it's not being disrespectful because I'm on television, man. I'm battling something. I need all the prayer warriors. God bless you all, and thanks for the prayers.
That's beautifully said, and we're all for one and one for all. If he's wearing glasses, we're all wearing glasses today as we are ready for all the action of Week 13, and as always.
So there you go. There was the announcement, and Alex Smith is the other person there that's on the set. So we'll see what happens with his health situation. He's still able to work. By the way, can we back up half a peg? Were you aware? I was not aware of this until this past weekend. Mike Tirico is working the NBC games after he ruptured his Achilles. My understanding is he's been working the last 2 weekends with a ruptured Achilles and in a walking boot. Don't know his surgery status. He's definitely trying to tough it out doing these games. Did the Thursday game, then did the Sunday night game in the Buffalo bad weather. So how about that? Injured reserve, at least for Mike Tirico. The voice is fine, being able to see and call the game with the voice, but the wheel, he's got a bad wheel. Mike Gill. How about that?
Yeah, they showed him in the booth with the Achilles propped up there. Obviously doesn't affect the way that you call the game, maybe getting around, but playing hurt for Mike Tirico there. That's a tough injury, too, and you see how long the comeback, that's about a half a year probably, if not longer. I heard Troy Aikman say during the broadcast on Monday night, obviously, that he had pulled a hamstring, and that it's like a year later, and that thing's still bothering him.
He said he tore it. He said he tore a hamstring last year, and it is still bothering him, and he still doesn't walk the same way. When he was talking about maybe he could outrace Jameis Winston in a 40-yard dash, and then Buck basically said, "Are you going to reveal?" And he said, "Okay, yeah, I tore my hamstring, and I'm still not right a year later with that." So we got some injured announcers.
Yes, we do.
Is what we're saying.
I do have the pairings this weekend. We'll get to those in a second, but I do want to get your thoughts. I'm wearing the West Virginia. You mentioned Anthony Becht. By the way, Becht, who is the head coach in the what is the name of that
UFL
league?
Now. They're now the UFL, the merged XFL and USFL. Correct.
Yes. So his name
coaching
is being
the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Yes,
of the UFL.
His name has been thrown out there to be a candidate for the West Virginia job. In fact, Bob Herzl, the old time. He was a columnist when I was in college there, and he's still the columnist down there pushing for Beck to get that job. But I'm interested to get your thoughts on the media's role now in pushing. You got Pat McAfee, who's blocked me on the Twitter X platform, which I have no idea why. I'm a McAfee fan. I'm a West Virginia guy. He's blocked me. But he, with a big role in the recruiting of the next coach at West Virginia, and the media's role now in trying to kind of, the NIL, trying to get money for these college football coaches. What a different game it is now. We heard the whole story about Michigan with Barstool Sports putting up money to get the quarterback to flip from LSU to go to Michigan, and big-time donor putting $10 million. The media's platform that Pat McAfee has, can he get a big-time coach to go to West Virginia? Very interesting story media-wise.
Well, and a lot of this has been going on in the shadows and in back rooms for years on who really controls who the athletic director is, who the football coach is, or even the basketball coach at a prominent school like Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke, Syracuse, Michigan State, who's really in charge of those programs, especially with these big money donors. But you're right. The Beck thing would be wild. He's in the media doing what we're doing, calling New York Jet games, the team that drafted him in the first round of the 2000 NFL draft. So he's on the radio calling football this season. But Anthony's had a long passion for the last 10 plus years to be a head coach, got the head coaching job in St. Louis. They've been good for a couple of years. They haven't won the championship, but they've been in the playoffs. They've been good. Good for him. And I'm just putting this out there. If they somehow figure out to get him there and he gets his son Rocco from Iowa State to transfer to West Virginia, holy crap, what a story. I have no insight. I know the Becks really well. I have not talked to Anthony about any of this, but that's a crazy subplot to Rocco and Iowa State playing Arizona State at noon coming up this weekend in the Big 12 title game on ABC, that Rocco could be a guy on the move in the transfer portal down the road. Who knows?
Now, I know Anthony very well as well. We were friends in college. We've hung out and spoken. In fact, I texted with him today. And I had told him my disappointment that he allowed his son to go to Iowa State. They love the coach there, but does he love his father more to go with them? Now, the question would be...
By the way, you can congratulate Neil Brown, who didn't recruit Rocco Beck, Anthony Beck's son, and Matt Campbell swooped right in. And by the way, the Florida schools didn't recruit Rocco Beck, who you'll see on national TV Saturday. He goes all the way to Iowa to go prove himself.
My question is this. We're talking about coaching, media recruiting the coaches. I know Pat McAfee played for Rich Rodriguez, who was in the media and is bounced all over the place. He scorned West Virginia when he left in the middle of the night to go to Michigan, and has, now his name is coming back up that he might want to return. And McAfee's he played for Rodriguez, and word is that he's kind of pushing Rodriguez as a possible candidate. But if Anthony Beck takes the job, as you talk about, he's a media guy, but a head coach, does he want to go into coaching and miss his son's last 2 years, or does the son go with them, or does the son say no? Because he likes Matt Campbell. Right. He really likes Matt Campbell. So it's a really interesting story of the media intertwining with head coaching. There's a head coach, and I just was watching the press conference here, Temple football. Nobody cares about Temple football. I get it. They just hired Casey Keeler, who was a guy who did some media, was the Rowan football coach, which is a Division III program. Then he went to Delaware, went to Sam Houston State, took them from 1AA into the Division I ranks, and now he's coming back here to Temple. And he was talking about the media and how everything has changed the landscape in college football, and it's one of the reasons what got him back here to Philadelphia to coach. So the media's role in these coaches, you're right, these backroom dealings, now you're seeing it just out in the open now.
And by the way, Gus Malzahn, who previously was in the national title game with Auburn, eventually got fired by Auburn, has now been at UCF the last 3 years as the coach at Central Florida and Orlando. He decides to give up the head coaching job at UCF to go to Florida State to go just be the offensive coordinator, just call plays. And part of that frustration is they're tired of dealing with boosters and the
Chip
NIL. Chip Kelly, same thing, left UCLA and said, I just want to coach ball. I just want to be the offensive coordinator. Now, that was a disaster in the second half against Michigan for Chip Kelly. But these guys saying, I don't want to deal with the NIL, the transfer portal. I'll just go be a coordinator, or I'll go to the media. Nick Saban, I'm done at Alabama. I'll go to the media. I'll make millions in the media at ESPN.
So I was talking to someone about the Temple job and somebody who had some interest in that position and was basically saying, it's not an X and O position anymore, the head football coach. It is a media, what do you know, who do you know, NIL. You're basically the CEO of the program. We just saw Andrew Luck get hired as the GM. These college programs are going to get recruiters, GMs, Deion Sanders. That's why they're finding people that were on television. Hey, you want to be the head coach of our school? People know you from. That's the big role now in who's the next head coach of your school.
Yeah, and Deion has raised tremendous money, raised the profile. The NIL is up, and they've won games. So year 2 is a success in that regard. It's a great topic. I know we got to go here in a few minutes. We want to cover a couple of more things, including how the media has done, I believe, a shameful job of not covering a story involving a transgender volleyball player. We'll do that coming up in a couple of moments. That's involved in a controversy with the Mountain West Conference and their volleyball tournament. But you wanted to mention the announcers. We're gonna have the new slate of games coming up on Thursday and for this weekend. So what's up on the announcer pairings?
Yeah, let's look at them. Joe Davis, Greg Olson. A lot of praise, by the way. I heard Olson. I was watching that game that they did last week. Olson just keeps getting better and better. It's a shame that the rest of the country doesn't get to see him all the time. Joe Davis, I really like Joe Davis as a footballer, but Olson elevates everybody on that group. Atlanta, Minnesota, you get Greg Olson, so cheers to you. Panthers and Eagles, I'll have that in my market with Adam Amin and Mark Sanchez. Kevin Kugler of Westwood One fame, Daryl Johnston, the old venerable Fox announcer, Saints and Giants, not a great game there. Burkholdt, Brady, they get the top game, Bills and Rams for the game of the week. Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, that's the Bears and Niners there. But I do want to go on again about Greg Olson. He was outstanding this past week in the game, and man, the game is slipping because there was so many games this week.
It was the Commanders. I'm trying to think if it was the Commanders and the Titans or what game that they had there at the very end.
No, he was Steelers. Did he have Steelers? Was it Steelers Bengals?
I'm not sure. I think that was the CBS game as well.
The CBS game.
I was in the press box at Carolina, and we were trying to get them to turn the sound up on a couple of the games that were early. I'm thinking was he doing the Cardinals and the Vikings? He was doing the Cardinals and the Vikings where they were going over the math, go for it on fourth down, kick a field goal, go for a touchdown. So Olson's getting praise for how he covered that.
Yes, but he just does a great job, and that game was not on in my market. That's why I was like, no, that's not the game that was on my TV. But you're right, because I do not watch the Red Zone, but I go to NFL Network, and they do like a kind of like a flip around, and that game kept coming up there. CBS, by the way, real quick, Nance and Romo, they're doing the Browns and Steeler game. You got Harlan and Trent Green on Jets and Dolphins, an old school AFC East game. Catalan, your old partner there, Tiki Barber and Jason McCourty. That's Jacksonville and Tennessee. Raiders, Bucks, you'll be at that game with Spiro and Adam Archuleta. And the 4 o'clock game, Iron Eagle, Charles Davis on the Seahawks and Arizona. Very interesting game there for that pairing as well.
Okay, so that's the CBS games. Again, the Amazon Prime game is a good one. It's the Lions-Packers rematch. Remember, that game was on Fox as the national game about 3-4 weeks ago on a Sunday, and Detroit just demolished Green Bay, even on the road. The Lions have now won 10 games in a row off the Thanksgiving win. So Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit will call that game. It is interesting in watching that Chiefs game on Friday and going back to a couple of previous Thursday games on the Amazon Prime. Al Michaels is much more animated now on the big moments and the touchdown calls. It's almost like whatever was going on and whoever got to him to say, can you go back to showing the enthusiasm you used to show on this stuff with the calls of the game? It's gotten better. I'll just point that out. And it did in the dramatic moments for the Kansas City Raiders game back on Friday. All right, in a little time that we have left on the Last Word on Sports Media podcast, again, if you're only hearing us, come find the video show, social media, Mike Gill Show YouTube page. You can see what we look like. This story, again, college volleyball is not going to get the same attention as the NFL. But this is a story that is being talked about. It involves a transgender volleyball player for San Jose State. And Mike, just to catch everybody up real quick, the player came to San Jose State in Northern California in the Mountain West Conference with Boise State, with New Mexico, all of these different, San Diego State, all these different programs out west. The player came to this program as a transfer. The player was a former player at Coastal Carolina. This is a person that has admitted to numerous people born as a male. The person used to be known as Braden Fleming, now wants to be known as a female, Blair Fleming. And I'm giving you that name, and I'm coming to the point on the media story. No matter how you feel, and I feel strongly that there should not be males, adult males playing in major college, high school, major college, or even professional sports. But forget about the argument politically, Mike Gill. The fact that you have ESPN, ESPN.com, and now I have read stories in The Athletic, in the Las Vegas Review-Journal. The Las Vegas Review-Journal was covering the Mountain West Volleyball Championship this past weekend. Again, it's completely off the radar. It's a conference volleyball title. But what had been happening this season is other teams in the conference had been boycotting and not playing San Jose State because they don't want to go against a male transgender player. And this Blair Fleming is a tremendous outside hitter in volleyball, and some of them are citing even that it's dangerous for them with a male spiking the ball at them, at their face, at their head. So much so, let me catch up one more point, that a teammate of Fleming's has filed a Title IX lawsuit, which is weaving its way through federal court, on whether or not she shouldn't have to play with a transgender male on the San Jose State volleyball team. Furthermore, there was an attempt to get an injunction to keep San Jose State from playing in the volleyball championship. So my point is, this is a massive story. A federal lawsuit, teams forfeiting, teams trying to get an injunction from a judge to not let San Jose State play. And all through the coverage, nobody is mentioning the name Blair Fleming, who is an adult, who's at the center of it. And to me, that is just so compromised. That is so, at this point, just out and out disregarding any standards. Cover the story. There are lawsuits. The names are in the lawsuits. When Blair Fleming plays in a game, they announce Blair Fleming's name on the PA with whatever's going on. I just don't understand. Why do we have some outlets, and Mike, feel free to weigh in, I'm on my soapbox here, that think, we don't put the name in. Go ahead.
What I will weigh in is this. This is the first I've heard of the story. That right. Tells you I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Right, until now.
I have not heard about this at all. So to tell you how little the story has been covered, now, again, I'm in the Northeast, college sports, not a big deal. Mountain West, San Jose, even a smaller deal. This is the first, literally, as you're telling me this, as we're recording this live, this is the first I have heard of this situation.
But the gravity of it has several different angles. Number one, they've been forfeiting games. And in the case of Boise State, they forfeited the semifinal volleyball game, refusing to play San Jose State. And San Jose State advanced in a bye, in a walkover to the championship game where they lost. So again, this is not a top of the food chain story like the NFL or college football might be, but it's a massive story. You had programs suing to keep San Jose State out of the volleyball tournament, and you have outlets not saying the name of the player. Blair Fleming is the name of the player, and Blair Fleming is announced to the crowd as part of the volleyball PA announcements. She's in the program, the game notes, her stats. She's on the San Jose State website. What are we doing with the coverage of this, that it's so compromised? It is so slanted at this point that we're not going to name people, including Brooke Slusher, the player that filed the Title IX lawsuit that's involved in this. This is a story. So there you go. There's a little bit on the coverage of that. We give our opinions. We give our takes. But this is more about the media coverage I'm talking about, or the lack thereof in your case, Mike, of making awareness on this. It's almost like they want this to go away. The fact that the other programs in the Mountain West were trying to sue to keep San Jose State from playing in the championship, playing in the tournament.
I don't even understand how, though, we like a casual sports fan. I'm not even a casual sports fan. I mean, I host a sports talk show every day, and this is the first I've heard of it. Like, how – forget why they have forfeited. The fact that the story of, hey, there's a team that forfeited, you'd be like, well, that's kind of weird. What happened? Forget why it happened.
I think part of it is because it's a conference volleyball, and like you said, regionally, most of us are nowhere near San Jose, Colorado, Boise, unless you're way out west. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. It's not highly publicized. But had they won the game, just one more point, and I know you got to go in a moment. Had they won the game, they would have qualified for the NCAA volleyball tournament on an automatic bid, San Jose State, with all this controversy. And they have had numerous games where the opponents forfeited during the year. It's a massive sports story. And so I'm just coming at it from the why are we not naming who the person is that's involved? That to me is shoddy with D's, SHODDY, shoddy journalism and coverage. Anything else in closing? What did we leave out? Anything else? We're ready for another football week, championship games in college football, NFL. Anything else that we're leaving out, or are we good?
There's always stuff, man. We could do this show. I do a 4-hour sports talk show every day, and I feel like I have more passion and topics to discuss here. The way the media is handling Ryan Day, basically as if he has to leave because he lost to Michigan. The guy's like, I think he has 10 losses in his career, 66-10.
I will say the name. NBC insider, athletic writer Nicole Auerbach said, she wrote it as well, that even if he wins the college football playoff championship, they maybe should still fire him for losing to Michigan. And I went, what? You talk about hyperbole. If he wins the championship, who cares if he lost to Michigan this go around?
Yeah, it's amazing. On that front, one of the topics on First Take today is if Nick Sirianni doesn't win a playoff game, should he be fired? The guy's 44-19. He's one of only like 6 coaches in NFL history, and it's Belichick, it's Curly Lambeau, it's Sean Payton, who have started 3 seasons in a row, 10-2. So it's a crazy world that we live in where the media is saying, hey, the only thing that matters, and look, sports, championships, that's what matters. But I always laugh and say, we always blame the coach so that we can blame the next coach. That's what coaching is. You're going to blame whoever the next coach is.
You're hired to be fired. And by the way, I'm just making sure. I don't know if she said, I want to make sure that I'm correct. She says anything short of a national title coupled with Saturday's embarrassing loss to deeply flawed Wolverines should lead to Ryan Day being fired. So she's advocating that if they don't win the championship in the college football playoff, they should fire him. But then again, it's Ohio State and Michigan. And we wait for those ratings. Let's see if it was the highest rated game of the year.
You're in a different spot than me. College football matters more where you are than where we are. It's unfathomable to think that game is almost more important than winning a national championship. Look, I get it. We're Eagles, Cowboys. You lose to the Cowboys, that's a big deal. But if you won the Super Bowl, no one cares that you lost to the Cowboys per se.
Right.
In college, it seems like those rivalries almost matter more.
Yep. All right, we've done enough, I believe, here. Mike, great stuff once again. Again, follow him at Mike Gill Show on social media, on Twitter X, on Blue Sky, etc. Follow me at Buck Sideline Guy. Check out Mike's YouTube page as well for more of the videos. And make sure you're following or subscribing to the podcast feed. If you're only seeing us on video, it's a podcast. Take us in your ears. Take us on your Bluetooth at Apple, Spreaker, Spotify with the Last Word on Sports Media podcast. Mike, have a great week. Thank you, my friend.
All right, everybody, we will try to catch up next week. We got the dailies for the rest of the week here with all the stuff. We should have some updated on the ratings for everything that happens there. So check us out and like, rate, review, and subscribe.
We love it. There's Mike Gill. I'm TJ Reeves. Thank you for being with us on the Last Word on Sports Media podcast.